wanted to talk a little bit about the ascension process when we start to transform our thoughts and what a light body or a lighter density body is going to feel like, or if you're going through some of these symptoms, what you will experience. So again, as we start to transform the way that we think about ourselves, our external reality, and what we're actually creating, we start to see that the very makeup of matter is transformed by what we think about it. So what do I mean by this? So when we're in a very dense state of consciousness and awareness and beingness, you will feel very, very attached to the three-dimensional world. And with that, you're not going to really perceive realities outside of regular life, okay? I certainly experienced this growing up periodically, where I would be very rooted in the third dimension and very focused on what other people were doing, and also a lot of, I would say, negative thought forms, because again, it was very much about the concrete world in which I was experiencing, and I was very closed off in various segments of my life to, I guess, the unseen world. However, there was definitely periods within my life where I had these sort of transcendental experiences, started off when I was really young, where I could perceive energy much more acutely, and definitely in a way that others around me did not perceive energy. And also my ability to make things manifest when I was really young was very maybe mixed up, but I seem to have a sense of manifestation that I didn't really see in others around me. And as I went through life, again, every time that I would go into a very negative space or be in very low vibrational thoughts, all of those things would out manifest, and usually fairly quickly. Same thing if I was in a very positive mind space, I was able to manifest things very, very quickly. And so what I realized when I was, studying psychology, studying science, was that, again, it makes perfect sense. What we think, what we perceive, is what is going to basically show up in the quantum field. Now, there's definitely an aspect or a power in the singular or the individual thinking certain thoughts. And what I've learned is the more pervasive and powerful the thought, the more quickly it manifests. So if we're talking about, really, really negative thoughts, again, if you're thinking them over and over and over with a lot of intensity, they're going to manifest very quickly. If you are thinking these type of thoughts, though, in relation, or when we start to understand the relationship, when you're creating positive thought forms, so really beautiful thoughts about others, yourself, what you want to create, those thoughts are actually much more powerful and will manifest more brilliantly and quickly than any negative thoughts. But when you're kind of starting to learn about manifestation and ascension and raising your vibration, at first a lot of it's quite accidental. You just sort of start to put the pieces together when maybe enough things start going wrong in your life, and you start to realize, okay, maybe I'm not a victim, or I don't want to be a victim, or I need to fix some things within myself. Because again, you can't just keep blaming the world. You have to get to a point where you start accepting your responsibility. And this is what raising your vibration is all about. It's about 100% accepting everything about your life the way it is, and knowing that you were the original cause of all of it. Now, I know this might be like a bit of a hard pill to swallow, like people will look at their lives and they'll think, well, no, that, things were done to me. There's terrible things that happened to me. And that's correct, but I want you to go back to before the terrible things happened and really think about the daydreams you were having, the imagination that came or was the precursor to things in your life. And if I go back in my childhood especially, I actually had a lot of daydreams, or my mind would go into these places of creating these scenes of a lot of sort of traumatic things happening. Now, traumatic things were going on around me at the time as well, but my thoughts were calibrating at a very low frequency, and that's what I was churning out. And in conjunction to that, not only were my thoughts calibrating at a very low frequency, there was a lot of powerful emotion behind those imagined thoughts. So it would give this tidal wave of energy that the quantum field picked up on. So when, and then with that said, again, there was a lot of density I experienced, low density, low vibrational, and very low vibrational experience of what Earth life looked like, what existence was about, those kind of things. And it wasn't until I decided that I was taking everything into my own hands and I was going to be diligent, really, really diligent about the thoughts that I created. And it took me many, many years to become successful. I'm still not perfect at this, but paying really close attention to everything I imagine. And if I get into a situation where I start worrying or I start to create a scene in my mind that is really focused on negativity or focused on thinking others are doing negative things, that kind of scenario, I have to really pay attention to it and realize that when I'm doing this imagining, I'm actually creating. And so I try to put myself in check and reverse whatever I thought if I kind of go into the same, pattern or habit. And then I actually diligently go back to whatever I was thinking and rethink it with a lot of powerful emotion and recreate whatever it is that I sort of did in a state of worry or low vibration, and raise that vibration very diligently. And as I've been able to do this, I've experienced waves of energy my entire life. So I don't want to suggest that this is a new occurrence for me, but it's always felt very much like a sixth sense. So it's like I can feel the energy of others. I can feel their thoughts, which is, again, it's very strange to say that you can feel somebody's thoughts, but I can feel their thoughts. And it's almost like I know where they calibrate. Well, I do. I can feel the calibration of the thought forms. And again, how I utilize that, for me, I would say that it's intuition. And usually, most often, I use it to try to help that individual. Or in some cases, if it seems like it's kind of a lower vibrational sort of toxic energy, then I'm going to stay a little bit away, not because I'm in judgment of that person, but because, again, if somebody's really in a chaotic energy, I cannot have that in my energy field, because that will pull me down and it will slow down the things that I'm trying to manifest in my own life story. So, if that makes sense. Now, I want to get into some of the symptoms or body experiences that you're going to feel likely if you're on that spiritual path and you start to really attune yourself to the quantum field, to the aura or the auric field of others, and then your own calibration within your own aura, really understanding what your soul is, where your soul is at, where that essence that is you is at. So when I talk about energy, like in the sense of something that would be very three-dimensional, a way to explain it. When I was young, I took karate for many years, and we talked about channeling that energy to be able to focus the energy towards whatever we were fighting, or if we were trying to break something. It was always about channeling that direct force into the matter or into the person that was the opponent in front of us, okay? So that's something that I think a lot of people would understand from that perspective. The other, martial arts kind of based things that I studied, or Eastern cultural modalities that I studied, in my younger years too, was Qigong and Tai Chi. And again, they are both based on the movement of energy and understanding that you are part of the energy field, but you're also moving the energy field around. And when you start to realize that the energy field is like this ocean that surrounds you, and it's ever extending, it's ever pervasive, but you are literally a part of it. You are the ocean, right? You are everything that is, and that you are a wave in this everything. You exist within it. So therefore it is affecting you, and you are affecting it. And really, the deeper you take that wisdom and that knowledge into yourself, the more you're going to feel it, because you start to tune into it. For me, again, it very much, I can feel the vibration of everything within all of my cells. So when I start to be on the right path, or calibrating to a very high frequency, I actually feel all of my cells vibrating. I don't know if that makes sense, but it's kind of like the shiver up your spine kind of a feeling, but it's intense. It's very, very intense. The energy kind of moves from the root chakra up all the way to the crown chakra. And I very much feel this quite frequently when I'm trying to tap into the field. And this kind of brings me back to prayer, okay? So when we think about prayer, I've always been very confused with the sort of, type of praying where you're just saying, a set of words that somebody else wrote and not really putting all of your energy and emotion into it. I'm not saying that that's a bad way to pray. I just don't feel like you're tuned into it in the same way. It's more repetitive. You're just repeating it, sort of, this is what you're supposed to say, and if you say this prayer, then good things are going to happen. I feel more so that when you tap into that energy and you are making a request of the universe, and it's a deep emotional, soul level, but emotional request of the universe, that is actually the way to pray or to ask. Not that there's a good or a bad way, but I think it definitely is more powerful when all of your being is asking for that thing with that power of emotion and desire behind it. And then again, when you are also having that powerful prayer-like energy for others, or for, the world at large. I know myself, I always say, very, very grand prayers. My hopes are for, all of planet Earth. It's always, a hope of healing for all beings, because again, that's the most beautiful expression of a hope or a prayer that I can come up with that would make, of course, myself happy, but all of those people around me, and wishing love and stability and passion and purpose, just joy, bliss for all others. Again, that is going to be a request or a prayer that calibrates very highly, and also you're going to feel really good when you are asking the universe for these type of things. Now, when you are in the ascension process, when you are becoming more of a light body than a three-dimensional, denser body vehicle, first of all, you're going to feel energy a lot. I have already kind of talked about that, but you're going to feel very sensitive to being around others. So people that you could potentially just be be fine with or tolerate before, or the type of speech or dialogue, those kind of things, all of a sudden feel very repelled by anything that is a lower vibratory expression, or anything like gossip, negativity, those kind of things. There'll be environments that you can't be in or go into. So if it is like a violent environment, or if there's a lot of drug use or something like that, you'll find that within your own being, you actually can't really exist in those kind of environments. It becomes very overwhelming, because again, you will be feeling the energy of others around you, and if it is that really low, dense, lower vibrational energy, it's really difficult on your system. The other thing that you're going to experience is sound will become something that, again, your body and you're an antenna, you're receiving, and you are in every moment calibrating and trying to understand the quantum field, or what is out manifested around you. So sound particularly will be something that will start to kind of agitate you. Not in a, you'll have a peace about you, because of course your vibration is lifted, but you will notice when music is a little bit too loud, or when somebody has, an annoying kind of a voice. Annoying is a good word, but you will feel sensitive to that. The other thing too is that you'll feel that it's difficult to have superficial conversations. So if a conversation is or seems like very surface level, and it doesn't seem to have, or doesn't seem to yield a lot of learning for the soul, you won't be able to tune into it like maybe you could if you were at a lower density state. Like previously, certain things that you would find humorous or funny, or you could just kind of, I don't want to say waste your time, but get into conversations that were sort of useless and didn't yield any learning. You could do that much more easily when you were kind of in an asleep state. And then when you start to wake up, you start to hunger for knowledge in a different way. And so you are very attuned to who you are around, who you're hanging out with, and what wisdom they bring to you. Because again, as you raise your vibration, you start to realize that your quest is really for deep knowledge, deep wisdom. And you also usually hear a call to teach in some way. Once you reach a certain level of understanding and really an equilibrium within yourself, where you feel very grounded and very peaceful, blissful, and full, then you feel a call to start teaching that to others. And it's not coming from ego or anything like that. It's coming from a place that you want others to feel and calibrate and experience the beauty of existing in this high vibrational state. Because even though there are times when you're going out into sort of a lower vibration that can feel very overwhelming, it will sort of manifest as anxiety, usually like a panic feeling, because you just will feel like you're not in alignment, and so you're very much repelling those energies because your vibration is very high. But the other side of that is when you are in meditation, or you're just feeling within your own auric field and your own energy, you will reach states of bliss. So it's just this like pervasive, warm source energy that you start to transmute throughout your entire body, and it's divine. It's just such a beautiful state to be in. It's so peaceful, it's so all-encompassing, and you really start to feel the energy of the universe. So this is definitely something, if you haven't experienced it, it would sound kind of crazy too, but once you have experienced it, there's nothing like it. So it is a very, very real thing to experience.